Welcome to Warminster Connect. I'm your host, Jason Crowley. Today, I'm joined by Bob Guarini, 45 plus year resident of Warminster. He's a local business leader, a longtime volunteer, and currently serving as a township auditor. This November, he's running for township supervisor, and we're diving into what drives him, his love for this community, and why he believes Warminster's best days are ahead. Bob, thanks for joining me.
Jason, thank you very much. I appreciate you doing this with me tonight.
Bob, you lived here for more than 4 decades. You raised a family here. You served as auditor. You've even helped run the Nativity Carnival for years. What's motivating you to run for township supervisor right now?
Well, to put it simply, I strongly believe that I can make a difference for this community. I have lived here pretty much my whole life. I've raised my family here. My wife of 33 years, we've been together almost 40 years. She was raised in Warminster. We've raised our children in Warminster. Um, you know, I have such cherished memories growing up in Warminster and built so many friendships over the years. As you said, some of the things that I've done, I've also coached Warminster Little League. I just absolutely love Warminster Township. It's the only way I can put it. And, I want to make it better. I strongly believe that I have the capability, to take the role of supervisor and do some really good things for this community. So that's what's driving me.
Thank you. You mentioned you've coached, other things that you've done. You've been a volunteer firefighter, currently serving as general manager of a local business. How have these experiences, all of them that you've had over your lifetime, shaped the way you think about serving Warminster?
Well, I've definitely taken a lot from each experience that I've gained. But, for instance, like with the fire department and the emergency services, that really taught me and gave me the ability to think on my feet. A lot of times you're making very quick snap decisions that could be, life depending. So it's taught me in emergency situations to remain calm and make the best decisions that I can at that time. Now, as far as the general manager position goes, I mean, that has just helped me grow as an individual in so many ways. I mean, dealing with not only, peers and subordinates underneath of me, but with, customers and vendors. It has taught me how to become a people person and, make unbiased decisions when it comes to, financial stuff, employee and HR decisions. You have to approach it unbiased. You can't inject your own personal feelings and opinions on it. I mean, you can let that drive some of the decision making, but it's really helped me to look at things from outside the box to make a sound decision. I mean, a lot of people's livelihoods depend on the decisions I make as a general manager. So I would say that, both of those things bring a different aspect to me as, growing in those positions that I can bring to the supervisor role, in my daily life as a husband and a father as well. So definitely the experience I've gained have made me a better person.
So, turning from your bio to some of the literature that I've seen out there, uh, one of the phrases on one of the pieces of literature was democracy, not dollars.
Yes.
Um, inevitably, I believe it's in reference to the impact of special interest money on elections. Can you tell me how you feel about the impact of special interest, the dark money, so to speak, uh, and its impact on elections, and why it matters that we are listening to the people of Warminster and not the special interests?
The voice of the people in democracy should never be influenced by large donors and lobbyists. The only thing that should be driving an elected official's decision making is the needs of the residents and the voice of the residents. You hear of pay to play and, large donors, um, getting all the business, and the work in the township because they're donating so much money to one political side or the other. You know, to me, that is absolutely absolutely wrong, that has no part in any political arena, especially local politics in here in Warminster. The only thing that should be driving the decisions of the elected officials in Warminster are what's going to make this township better for the residents. End of story. Large donors and lobbyists have no place in the decision making in this township.
Looking ahead, what would be your top priorities for Warminsters if the voters decide to put their trust in you this November?
Well, I would want to bring back responsible governing to this township. And a couple examples of that would be before the current leadership took over, no matter what they're stating or what they're saying, this township was pretty much debt free. Since their leadership has taken over, they have borrowed money for things like paving roads, park upgrades, upgrading the golf course. And, all of those things were to be funded by grants. Now, the grants came in, they didn't use that money to pay down those loans. They took that grant money and put it in the capital fund. So, and to me, that does not make sense. It's kicking the can down the road for future, elected officials and residents to put that bill. In addition to that, the severely underfunded pension fund, that's a huge problem. They keep kicking the can down the road, as I said before, with something called the smoothing method. And for people who don't know what that is, when the payment for the pension fund comes due, they agree to pay a certain amount and then finance the rest over time. And, again, they're kicking the can down the road using the so-called township's credit card to pay for these things. To me, that is just not the answer. You have to hit these head on. Now, where that money comes from, there's got to be a better way. So I think responsible government is the one thing. And, this goes hand in hand. We need to give the voice to the residents back. I think they are sometimes overlooked or overshadowed in the decision-making process. Case in point, at the Board of Supervisor meetings each month, there used to be 2 sections for public comment, and that's been cut down to 1. The whole reason why we're doing this is for the residents of Warminster. I think they should have a say or at least be able to express their feelings. So, I guess I could sum it up in saying that, I'd like to bring governing back to Warminster as opposed to, ruling of Warminster.
Thank you. I had an opportunity recently to speak with your running mate. There's 2 seats open this fall. You are running with Vitaly Valenchuk. Can you tell me a little bit about Vitaly?
Vitaly's name may sound familiar to a lot of you, and that is because, he did run for supervisor in the past. He's been heavily involved in local politics in Warminster. He is on the Peace Valley Holistic Center as a board member. He's a member of the Bucks County Human Relations Council, and he sits on a board as a commissioner in the UN for human rights defense. So, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to make decisions, and he doesn't want Warminster to turn into where he came from. He knows what it's like, not to have a say and to live under the rule of communism. Not that we're headed towards communism, but, he truly believes that the people have a right to have a say in their township and their governing. So, he's not wet behind the ears. He's not green. He can bring a lot to the table. And I just hope that, Warminster voters get to know Vitaly like I got to know Vitaly, because he is truly a terrific human being.
As we start to wrap up, I want to ask a non-campaign related question, more on a personal level. What's something that people might be surprised to learn about you?
A couple things. People always tend to be surprised to find out that I have a degree in pastry arts. You know, I'm I'm pretty much a pastry chef. I love all things culinary. I really do. It's a passion of mine. But people tend to be surprised when I tell them that I have an associate's degree in pastry arts. So that's one thing that I think people get surprised about. And in addition to that, um, a lot of people don't realize that I'm one of eight. I have seven siblings and come from a very large, close knit, loving family. Uh, you know, a small party at the Guarini Chateau is 70 people, and that's just immediate family, husbands, wives, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, great grandchildren. And we're blessed. We really do have a great family, and we all get along and we enjoy each other. So, um, I think they're probably the two biggest things that people always seem very surprised to hear about myself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, so as we wrap up our conversation tonight, uh, I want to give you the opportunity, look directly in the camera. What, if the camera was somebody in your house you're at knocking on the door, giving them a pitch, what would you want that voter, that resident to know about why you're running and why they should vote for you?
Well, as I said in the beginning, um, you know, I love this township. This has been my home. I take it personally when I hear people say things like, "Oh, I would never, move to Warminster," or, "We're looking to get out of Warminster." I love this community. I raised my children here. Uh, I built many friendships here. So what I would say to them is, I'm just like them. I get up every day, go to work, you know, uh, worry about paying bills and, you know, just overall, safety of my family. So I'm no different than they are, but I really do believe that I can make a difference if elected and that, I shoot from the hip. What you see is what you get from me. I try to make every decision based on honesty, integrity, and transparency. And I'm going to give 100% of myself so that people can know the Warminster I grew up in, a sense of community. And I'm going to fight hard for them. I'm not going to let what they're saying to me fall on deaf ears. I'm going to listen to what their needs and wants are and do everything in my power to get them what they need and they want. Now, it might not always happen, but I'm at least going to listen and hear them and try to apply it to what we can do to make that happen. So, again, just I'm going to give 100% of myself, and it's not a challenge I take lightly. I take this very seriously, and I'm not doing it for self gain. I'm doing it for the betterment of Warminster and its residents because I love this township.
Well, Bob, I want to thank you for joining us this evening on Warminster Connect. I wish you all the best. Best of luck this fall. And thanks once again.
Jason, thank you very much, and all you Warminster residents out there, please, November 4th, Guarini Valenchuk, give us your vote. And thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Bob. Have a good night.
You too, buddy. Thank you.